In the remnants of a sprawling city where skyscrapers once pierced the clouds, David stood atop the highest building, gazing at the starlit sky. The earth, once vibrant and bustling, had become a quiet shell of its former self, its natural resources depleted, its environments destroyed. "You're late," a voice called from behind. David turned to see his old friend and fellow engineer, Marcus, stepping through the door onto the rooftop. "Sorry," David replied, his eyes not leaving the heavens. "I got caught up watching the stars. It's clearer tonight." Marcus chuckled as he joined David by the ledge. "You and your stars. We've got work to do, remember?" David nodded, his gaze lingering a moment longer before he turned, his face set with determination. "Let's get to it then." The two men descended into the building, making their way to a hidden basement beneath the ruins. This was their sanctuary, a place where they, along with a few other trusted friends, were building something extraordinary. As they entered, the hum of machinery and the scent of ozone filled the air. Alex, a robust man with a talent for mechanical engineering, was welding a part of the spacecraft's hull. Sarah, their astrophysicist, was hunched over blueprints that sprawled across a large table. "We've got the final components for the thrusters," Marcus announced as he and David approached the group. "How's the hull coming along, Alex?" "Almost done," Alex replied, lifting his welding mask. "Another few nights, and she'll be ready for pressure testing." Sarah looked up, pushing her glasses up her nose. "I've recalculated the trajectory for our test flight. We need to adjust the initial thrust by 0.03%. David nodded, pulling up a chair beside her. "Show me," he said, leaning over the blueprints. As Sarah explained her calculations, David's mind raced with possibilities. This ship, their ship, was more than just metal and circuits. It was their chance to prove that humanity could still reach for the stars. "Imagine the looks on their faces when they find out what we've been doing here," Marcus said, half joking. "More like the shock," Alex added, joining the conversation. "They think we're done for, stuck on this dying planet." "But we're not," David said, standing up. His eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and seriousness. "This ship, it's our chance to connect with whatever's out there, to show that humans aren't just survivors, but explorers." The group nodded in agreement, each one fired up by David's words. As the night deepened, they worked tirelessly, adjusting calculations, fitting together parts, and strengthening their bonds of friendship and purpose. They were more than a team. They were pioneers on the brink of the unknown. Finally, as dawn approached, the tired but satisfied group stood back to admire their work. The spacecraft, though still unfinished, was starting to take shape, sleek, durable, and defiant. "Soon," David murmured, more to himself than to the others. "Soon, we'll be ready." Marcus clapped him on the shoulder. "And then the Rayol adventure begins." With a shared nod, the group dispersed for the day, leaving the ship in the dim light of the basement. Outside, the sun rose over Earth, casting light over the land and the small team of humans who dared to defy their supposed fate. Chapter 2. The Assembly. The city was quiet as dawn broke, its empty streets echoing with the distant hum of the makeshift workshop hidden beneath the surface. Inside, David and his team were already back at work. The previous night's breakthrough had injected a new urgency into their mission. As David entered the workshop, he found Marcus and Alex examining a large piece of the spacecraft's hull. "Morning," David called out, his voice echoing slightly in the vast underground space. "Morning," Alex responded, not looking up from his inspection. "We found a problem with the alignment on the aft panel. It's off by a few millimeters." David walked over and crouched beside them. "Let's get it fixed. Every millimeter counts." Marcus nodded, wiping his hands on a cloth. "I'll prep the tools." We might need to recalibrate the whole section. While Marcus fetched the necessary equipment, David and Alex began loosening the bolts on the misaligned panel. The work was meticulous and physically demanding, but the atmosphere was charged with a collective focus. "Ever think you'd be doing something like this?" Alex asked as he handed David a wrench. "Every night when I looked up at the stars," David replied without hesitation. "What about you?" Alex laughed softly. "Honestly, I always thought I'd end up designing luxury yachts, not spacecraft." The two shared a smile, their friendship deepened by the shared pursuit of a seemingly impossible dream. As they worked, Sarah and another team member, Jonah, joined them. Jonah, a younger engineer with a knack for electronics, was carrying a tablet filled with diagnostics. "We've got a problem with the environmental controls," Jonah reported. "Temperature fluctuations could damage the onboard systems during flight." Sarah chimed in, "I think I've found a workaround for it, but I'll need help recalibrating the sensors." "Let's tackle that next," David said, standing up and stretching his back. "Alex, once we finish here, can you give Sarah a hand?" "Of course," Alex replied. The morning passed in a flurry of activity. Tools clattered, and voices echoed as the team adjusted panels, rewired systems, and updated software. It was during these hours of hard work that their camaraderie was most apparent, each member of the team playing a crucial role in bringing their shared vision to life. By midday, they took a brief break, gathering around a makeshift table littered with blueprints and digital tablets. Jonah, looking around at the group, grinned. "You know, we're actually doing this. It's not just a dream anymore. It's more than that," Marcus added. "It's our declaration. We're not just bystanders in the universe." David nodded, his expression serious. "We're close. Let's keep pushing." The afternoon was spent testing and fine-tuning. Sarah and Alex worked on stabilizing the environmental controls, while David and Marcus completed the alignment of the hull. Jonah updated the ship's software, ensuring all systems communicated effectively. As the sun began to set, signaling the end of another long day, the team stepped back to assess their progress. The ship, now fully shaped and increasingly resembling the vessel that would carry them beyond Earth's atmosphere, stood as a silent testament to their determination and skill. "Tomorrow, we start on the propulsion systems," David announced. "Let's make sure everything is triple-checked. We can't afford any mistakes." The group nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting a mix of fatigue and excitement. They were on the brink of achieving something monumental, something that could change the course of human history. As they left the workshop, the lights flickering off one by one behind them, the challenges ahead seemed less daunting. Together, they were building a future, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. Chapter 3: The Great Launch. The air was thick with anticipation as the morning of the launch arrived. The makeshift launch site, a vast clearing far from the city's ruins, was abuzz with activity. David, Marcus, Alex, and Jonah moved among the team, checking and double-checking every system on the fleet of ships. David approached the main ship, Pioneer, clipboard in hand, as Marcus relayed the latest communications checks through his headset. "Comms are clear on all channels," Marcus reported, a note of relief in his voice. "Good, let's keep it that way," David replied, making a note on his clipboard. He looked up to see Alex guiding a crane as it hoisted the last fuel module into place. "Alex, status?" "We're green here," Alex shouted back, giving a thumbs up. "Fuel module secure, and propulsion is all set." Jonah jogged over, tablet in hand, a grin spreading across his face. "All systems are a go, David. Navigation, life support, everything's top-notch." David nodded, allowing himself a small smile. "All right, team, let's gather for the final briefing." The group assembled under the shadow of the towering Pioneer, their faces etched with a mix of excitement and nervousness. David surveyed his team, proud of their unwavering commitment. "Today we make history," David began, his voice steady and clear. "Each of you has played a crucial role in getting us to this point. Remember, once we launch, stay sharp, follow the protocols, and keep communication open. We're not just launching ships, we're launching humanity into a new era." Heads nodded, and a murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Marcus stepped forward, clapping his hands once for attention. "Final checks, people. Let's suit up and get to our stations." As the team dispersed, David climbed aboard Pioneer, strapping himself into the pilot's seat. Marcus took the co-pilot seat while Alex and Jonah checked the cabin and systems one last time. "Marcus, begin the countdown," David instructed, his hands poised over the controls. Marcus nodded, his voice calm but authoritative as he spoke into the calm. "All stations, this is it. We begin countdown now. T-minus 10 minutes to launch." The team responded in unison, a chorus of readiness coming through the comm system. As the countdown continued, David's mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. The risks were enormous, but the potential for discovery and proving humanity's capabilities drove him forward. 2 minutes, Marcus announced, his voice a constant presence in the quiet hum of the ship. David took a deep breath, focusing on the panels in front of him. "Systems check," he called out. Jonah's voice came through clearly. "Navigation is green. Life support is green," Alex added. 1 minute, Marcus said. "All hands, brace for launch." The final seconds ticked down, each moment stretching as if in anticipation of the monumental event about to occur. 10, 9, 8. Marcus counted down. The team tensed, ready for the force of launch. 3, 2, 1. Marcus finished. David pressed the launch button, and a tremendous roar filled the air as Pioneer and its companion ships ignited their engines and lifted off. The ground shook, and the sky lit up as if in daylight. Inside Pioneer, the team was pressed back into their seats, the force of the launch pushing them as they ascended through the atmosphere. David kept his eyes fixed on the control panel, monitoring every fluctuation, every spike. As they broke through into the blackness of space, the ship's vibrations eased, and the team let out a collective sigh of relief. "We did it," Marcus whispered, awe in his voice as he looked out at the stars now surrounding them. David nodded, a sense of accomplishment washing over him. "Yes, we did. But remember, this is just the beginning." Pioneer and its fleet continued into the depths of space, a silent testament to human ingenuity and the unyielding desire to reach beyond known boundaries. The universe awaited, full of mysteries to unravel and new horizons to explore. Chapter 4. The Encounter. As the fleet of ships stabilized in orbit, the crew aboard the Pioneer began to adjust to the rhythm of space travel. David, Marcus, Alex, and Jonah worked seamlessly, each monitoring different systems and ensuring that their trajectory remained on course. "David, you should see this," Marcus called out, his tone urgent yet controlled. David floated over to the navigation console where Marcus was staring intently at the screen. "What is it?" David asked, peering at the display. "There's an anomaly on the long-range scanner. It's not a celestial body or debris," Marcus explained, his fingers gliding over the controls to enhance the image. Jonah joined them, his curiosity piqued. "Could it be another ship?" "Possibly. It's holding a stable position relative to our trajectory. Not moving, just waiting," Marcus replied. "Let's get closer." "Adjust our course," David decided, turning to Jonah. "Keep the communication channels open and record everything." As Pioneer approached the anomaly, The outline of a ship slowly emerged from the darkness of space. It was unlike any design they had seen before. Sleek and seemingly lightless, it reflected the universe around it like a mirror. "We are in visual range," Alex reported, coming to join the group. "No signs of life as far as I can tell." David nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "Open a communication channel," he instructed Jonah, who quickly complied. "This is Captain David Grant of the Earth vessel Pioneer. We come in peace," David broadcasted, waiting anxiously for a response. Seconds stretched into minutes with no reply, and the tension in the cabin grew. Then, suddenly, a voice filled the cabin, clear and distinctly non-human. "Welcome, travelers from Earth. I am Calrec of the Sivara. We have been observing you." David exchanged a look with his crew, a mixture of excitement and wariness passing between them. "We are honored to meet you, Calrec. May we approach for a direct dialogue?" "You may," the voice replied, and the alien ship activated what appeared to be a docking protocol. With precise movements, Pioneer aligned with the Sivara vessel, and once docked, the airlock doors opened. David took a deep breath, looked at his crew, and then stepped forward to meet the alien. Calrec was waiting for them in the airlock, his appearance strikingly different from any human. Tall and slender, with a smooth, reflective skin that shimmered with each movement, he radiated a calm and welcoming aura. "Welcome aboard the Stargazer," Calrec greeted, gesturing for them to follow him into his ship. As they walked through the corridors, David was amazed by the technology surrounding them. Everything was streamlined and functional, with surfaces that changed opacity and color. Calrec led them to a central chamber where they could sit. "I have been alone for many cycles, observing your world from afar. Your journey here was unexpected. Why observe us?" Marcus asked, the question on everyone's mind. Calrec paused, considering his words. "My people search for those who show potential for growth and peace. You are the first in many cycles. Your technology is beyond anything we've seen. Would you be willing to share knowledge with us?" Jonah asked, ever the engineer, fascinated by the alien systems. "That is possible. First, let us understand each other better," Calrec replied, signaling the start of what would be a long and enlightening conversation. As they talked, David felt a profound sense of achievement. They had not only reached the stars, but had also made contact with a civilization far advanced from their own. This encounter, he realized, could change everything for humanity. Chapter 5. Forbidden Knowledge. Back aboard the Pioneer, the atmosphere was electric with new possibilities following their meeting with Calrec. David, Marcus, Alex, and Jonah gathered in the main cabin to discuss the insights shared by the Sivara. "So, he's been watching Earth because we might be ready to join. What did he call it? A collective of peaceful civilizations." Alex tried to summarize, still in awe of the encounter. "Exactly," David confirmed, reviewing the notes he had taken. He talked about sharing technologies, ideas, and cultural practices. It's a chance for humanity to grow beyond anything we've imagined. Jonah was busy at a console, his fingers dancing over the holographic display. "And the tech. Did you see how their energy systems function? It's like nothing we have. If we can learn even a fraction of that, we can solve so many problems back home." Marcus nodded, thoughtful. "There are implications we need to consider. How do we introduce this knowledge to Earth? How do we ensure it's used wisely?" David leaned back, considering the weight of Marcus's words. "We'll need a plan. Education, transparency, maybe phased disclosures. We have to handle this responsibly." The discussion turned to the practical aspects of integrating Savara technology. Jonah suggested starting with environmental restoration technologies, considering Earth's dire state. That makes sense, Alex agreed. Start with something that benefits the planet, gains public trust. David scribbled down their ideas, then looked up. I think we should also consider personal exchanges. Maybe some of us could stay here to learn, and some of them could come to Earth. Cultural ambassadors, Marcus mused. It's a good idea. Builds mutual understanding. Their strategy session was interrupted by a call from Calrec. He invited them to return to his ship, the Stargazer, to discuss the first steps of this interstellar partnership. Once aboard the Stargazer, they were led to a different room this time, one that seemed to function as a library or study. Walls lined with glowing panels displayed what appeared to be books and artifacts from different civilizations. Calrec greeted them warmly. I have considered your situation and am prepared to offer assistance in environmental technologies as a starting point for our cooperation. That's exactly what we were hoping for, David replied, grateful. We also discussed the possibility of an exchange program for learning and cultural understanding. A wise approach, Calrec nodded. I can arrange for a group of Savara to visit Earth, and for some of you to stay here, to deepen our bond and ensure the responsible use of the knowledge shared. The details were discussed at length, with Calrec explaining the technology that could help reverse environmental degradation on Earth. He also showed them a device that facilitated learning languages and customs quickly, to help with the integration. As the meeting concluded, Calrec handed each of them a small, luminescent token. To remember this moment and our commitment to a better future, he explained. Returning to the Pioneer, the team was quiet, each lost in thought about the monumental changes ahead. David broke the silence as they neared their ship. This is more than a mission now. It's a responsibility. To our planet, to each other, and to this new interstellar community. They nodded, feeling the weight and the excitement of their new roles as pioneers not just of space, but of a future where Earth was part of a larger universe of civilizations, connected by shared knowledge and mutual respect. The journey back to Earth would be one of planning and preparation, ready to usher in a new era. Chapter 6. A New Revelation. As the Pioneer and its sister ships began their journey back to Earth, enriched with the knowledge and technologies shared by Calrec, David, Marcus, Alex, and Jonah utilized their travel time to plan the integration of Savara technologies into Earth systems. First things the environment, David reiterated, leading the meeting in the main cabin. We reverse the damage with what Calrec has given us. Then, we tackle energy sustainability. Marcus, looking over the detailed schematics on his tablet, added, we'll need to set up training programs. These systems are complex. We can start with engineering teams from major global centers. Alex chimed in from his station, where he was calibrating the new environmental modules. I've been thinking about the public's reaction. We should prepare some demos, something tangible they can see and understand. That's a good point, Jonah said, his eyes not leaving his screen where he was drafting a proposal for the United Nations. Visual impact will help. Maybe a before and after simulation of an area back home. The discussion was detailed and intense, each member contributing insights from their respective expertise. They were deep into planning when the ship's sensor array suddenly beeped loudly, signaling an anomaly. What now? David muttered, moving to check the readings. Marcus joined him, peering at the data. It looks like a distress signal, Marcus observed, deciphering the codes. And it's close by, in astronomical terms. David considered their options. Can we afford the detour? We have the Savara tech. We're better equipped than anyone to handle this, Alex pointed out, joining the conversation. All right, let's check it out, David decided. Adjusting course. Jonah, keep drafting your proposal, but be ready to switch gears if this turns into a rescue mission. The Pioneer altered its trajectory toward the source of the distress signal. As they approached, they found a small spacecraft adrift, its design unfamiliar and visibly damaged. Using the Savara docking technology, they managed a connection. David and Marcus suited up and entered the derelict vessel, finding a single alien occupant unconscious but alive. They quickly transported the alien to Pioneer for medical attention. Back on the ship, as the alien regained consciousness, David was at his side, trying to communicate. "Can you understand me?" David asked, the universal translator device they'd received from Calrec clipped to his collar. "Yes, thank you," the alien responded weakly, his voice garbled through the translator. "I am LYR, of the Athenite sector. My ship was damaged by an asteroid storm. What were you doing out here?" Marcus inquired, handing Ella a drink of water. "Exploring, much like you," Ella explained, managing a weak smile. "But I am alone. My people send out scouts to learn, not in large ships like yours." Alex, intrigued, asked, "What can you tell us about your technology? Maybe there's something we can share or learn from each other." LYR nodded. "Yes, I can share data. My mission was also to gather and exchange knowledge." As LYR shared his data, the team learned about Athenite energy conversion, a process by which natural cosmic forces could be harnessed efficiently. This new knowledge complemented what they had learned from the Savara, presenting even more possibilities. "We need to incorporate this into our plans," David said, excited by the potential. "With this, we can accelerate our environmental recovery projects by decades." The rest of the trip back to Earth was spent integrating the Athenite data with the Savara technologies. Plans were expanded and refined, and the team's excitement grew. They were not only returning as harbingers of new technologies, but also as connectors of civilizations, each with unique contributions towards a sustainable future. By the time Earth's blue orb came into view, the Pioneer was no longer just a ship. It was a beacon of a new age of interstellar collaboration and understanding, ready to usher in a new chapter for humanity. Chapter 7. Return to Earth. As Earth loomed closer, visible through the Pioneer's viewports, the crew prepared for re-entry and the multitude of tasks that awaited them. David gathered his team in the main cabin, a large hologram of Earth spinning slowly before them. "We're almost home," David started, his voice steady with the weight of their mission. "Our first priority is to establish the environmental restoration centers using the technologies from Calrec and OA." Marcus, who had been coordinating the logistics, nodded in agreement. "I've set up meetings with heads of state and key environmental agencies. We'll need to get them on board quickly." Alex looked up from his device, where he'd been finalizing the presentation. "I've prepared the demos you asked for. Visual impacts of the technology should help sway any doubters. And I've drafted an introductory course for engineers and scientists worldwide," Jonah added. "It's essential we start training others immediately." David smiled, pleased with their preparation. "Excellent work, everyone. After we land, we'll split up according to tasks. Marcus, you and I will handle the political and administrative aspects. Alex, you set up the demos. Jonah, you get started on those courses." The re-entry into Earth's atmosphere was smoother than expected, thanks to the advanced shielding techniques shared by their new allies. The Pioneer landed amidst a flurry of media and governmental attention, the world eager to learn about their journey and the promised technologies. David and Marcus faced the press first, explaining their mission and the partnerships they'd formed. The news of potential environmental rejuvenation and new energy sources was met with a mix of awe and skepticism. "We bring more than just promises," David told the gathered crowd, his confidence reassuring. "We bring solutions that we will demonstrate here and now." Meanwhile, Alex prepared the first public demonstration at a nearby devastated area. He set up the Savara devices, which would begin the process of detoxifying the soil and air. As the machines whirred to life, the onlookers gasped as visible changes occurred before their eyes. Within hours, dead soil began to rejuvenate, sprouting fresh green grass. Jonah launched the online platform for global education, streaming the first session from the landing site. Thousands logged on, watching as he explained the basics of the technologies, their potential impact, and how the courses would proceed. Over the next few weeks, the team tirelessly traveled between meetings, demos, and training sessions. Public opinion slowly shifted from skepticism to hopeful anticipation. During a rare quiet moment, David and Marcus discussed their progress by the restored area, now lush and vibrant. "It's happening faster than I expected," Marcus observed, watching children play on the newly grown grass. David nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "It's not just about fixing the environment. It's about proving that humanity can unite for a common good. We're setting the stage for a global collaboration." "Yes, and the interest from other alien civilizations has been piqued as well," Marcus added. "Calrec's message about our success has spread. We're receiving communications from other sectors, interested in forming alliances." David laughed softly, a sound of content and disbelief mixed together. "Imagine that, Earth, once a struggling planet, now a focal point for interstellar cooperation." As they prepared for the next phase, integrating more advanced technologies and expanding their reach beyond Earth, David felt a profound sense of purpose. They had not only brought back hope, but had also ignited a potential renaissance for Earth and its place in the cosmos. The chapter closed on Earth renewed, not just by the hands of its people, but through the combined efforts of a universe that had come to see them as equals, partners in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Chapter 8. Homecoming. The Earth that greeted the crew of the Pioneer was beginning to buzz with the winds of change. Cities once choked by smog were breathing easier, thanks to the environmental technologies now at work. In what had become a global spectacle, David and his team continued to steer humanity's course towards a brighter future. In a newly established conference hall, equipped with translation devices from the Savara, David prepared for a landmark summit. Leaders and representatives from various alien civilizations were arriving to discuss formal alliances and shared technological projects. "Looks like everything we dreamed of is coming to fruition," Marcus remarked as he checked the security protocols. His role had evolved from engineer to diplomat over the weeks. David nodded, adjusting his tie before looking out at the gathering crowd. "It's just the beginning, Marcus. Today, we set the groundwork for an interstellar alliance." Jonah approached, tablet in hand, a nervous excitement in his step. "The live stream is set to go. We're about to reach billions, David." "Billions. Make sure they see everything," David responded, his voice firm with the responsibility he felt. "It's important they understand they're part of this journey, too." As the summit commenced, David took the stage, greeting each representative warmly. "Welcome to Earth, our friends from the stars. Today marks a new chapter not only for us, but for all our civilizations." The discussions were intense and fruitful. Proposals were made for a shared scientific initiative, a space exploration program, and even a cultural exchange project. Each representative brought something unique to the table, eager to contribute to the growing network of allied worlds. Alex, meanwhile, managed the technology showcase outside the conference hall. "Check this out," he demonstrated to a group of alien engineers, showing off a hybrid energy converter that combined Earth's solar technologies with Athenite energy patterns. "It's efficient and adaptable to different planetary environments." The alien engineers, their interest piqued, exchanged ideas and offered improvements. The collaboration was real and immediate, with prototypes being sketched out on digital pads. Back in the summit, a historic agreement was signed, dubbed the Terra Pact, symbolizing Earth's official entry into the galactic community. Cameras flashed as each leader placed their signature on the document. After the summit, the crew gathered back on the Pioneer, now docked and turned into a museum and educational center. "We did it," Jonas said, looking around at his friends. "We actually did it." David smiled, clapping Jonah on the back. "We all did it. Together." Marcus looked out at the horizon, where Earth met the sky. "Think there'll ever be a day when this feels normal?" "Maybe," David mused. "But I hope not. The wonder is what keeps pushing us forward." As the sun set on this monumental day, the Pioneer crew watched from their vessel-turned monument. Earth, with its new friends and old challenges, was ready for the next steps. The planet had become a hub of innovation and unity, a once isolated world now firmly entwined in the vibrant tapestry of the cosmos. The chapter closed with Earth not as it once was, but as it could be, a thriving member of a vast, interconnected universe. And for David and his crew, the adventure was just beginning.